All right, so we're going to set up a layers panel. That's one of the learning objectives for exercise 1. You'll be able to see those learning objectives when they're on Blackboard by, I would say, 6 o'clock tonight. So let's get into it. The first thing we're going to do is duplicate our background layer because I don't want to make a mistake on this. And these are all of my original pixels. Because I'm trained as a photographer, I'm also very conscious of how precious all of my original information is. So I'm going to grab the background layer, it's selected and it's blue, and I'm going to drag it down to the little icon near the trash. And you'll see that it duplicates it. I like to turn off the eye so that I can't even see the background copy. So if I try and do something to it, it's going to say no smoking. You can't do it, it's not on. And then we're going to make 3 new blank layers on which to do our painting. And you will kind of develop your own style for painting, but I'm going to set it up the way that I've done a little research into how digital painters work in Photoshop, and I found it a bunch of different ways. One of your resources is, if you go into Notes, you'll see that I gave you a PDF called Digital Painting. This is about 40 pages of information from an online class I teach. All right? So you're not required to read it. These are not the instructions. These are just additional notes. So if you're thinking about like different brush tips and any like layer structure, you may want to reference that, but it's from another class, and I thought that you guys may just want it if you're like me and you like additional information. Okay, then I'm going to go to Layer, New Layer, and I'm going to call it Underpainting. Underpainting can be thought of as the big shapes. So when I start to paint this, I'm going to just define the shapes. This is long like a snout, this is a big round head, this is a big old body, little leg, table leg, right? You're not required to paint the entire image, and you are not required to make it look photographic, right? I already have a photograph of this. I'd like to see you do something good with the mixer brush. Another way that you can make a new layer is to go over to this icon here. Click New Layer. Double click where it says Layer 1, and we're going to call this Painting. This is, I would say, we call it Main Painting. This is where you're going to start to add lighting, right, and all of your details. And you're going to have one more at the very top that is the details that you want to lay on top. I am using Command plus to zoom in. So details like the eye or these kind of wisps, maybe real subtle variations in color, those would be on the detail layer. Most of your painting's done on this layer, and then your underpainting is done on this layer. Okay, so one of the things that happens is you start to build it like a sandwich, right? Now, if you select the brush tool and go to the mixer brush tool, you'll see that your option bar changes. And let's just take a second and click on a couple of tools, and you'll see every time you pick a tool, this option bar changes. We're going to be using not the brush, but the mixer brush. And the mixer brush works with the photograph that's below it if you have this checked. So I'm going to check that, and then I'm going to pick one of the special mixer brush tips. They have this little, see this little nub? So I'm going to pick this one here. Okay. And then I'm going to, and this is a little tricky, but you can totally do it. Press down the eye, hold down the eye, click to sample the color, and then let go of the eye. And the color that you sampled will now be up here. If you're like, I don't want to use that color, you can go in and set another color, and we'll review that in a different video. So again, you're not pressing the eye, because what that does is leaves the tool, it goes to the eye dropper. With the the mixer brush selected, hold down the eye, keep holding it, hold it, click, hold it, let it go. And you don't leave the mixer brush. And then, on big shapes, you just start to make big shapes. You can increase the brush size by using the brackets that are located next to the letter P. And for big shapes, it's just like this is a big brown shape, this is a big black shape, this is another black shape. You're just defining the shapes. And you can see how it is picking up the pixel information from below. Let me show you what it would look like if it didn't have that selected. It would just lie down paint, and it's not mixing with any of the information below. In another video, we will go through some of the different settings. But what I'd love you to start for Wednesday, and you will start on Wednesday, is to play around with some of these. Dry, you'll notice, doesn't do any mixing, right? Mixing isn't even selected. Moist, we got wet, load, and 100% mix. And then we've got wet, which puts more paint on the brush. That's the load. And very wet. So you'll change back and forth between these, and you will sample your color, and then we'll go through what all of these mean in the next video, but this is just to get you set up. Now, say I want to get rid of this because this is a hot mess. All I have to do is throw that layer away, make a new layer, call it underpainting, and then go to File, Save. Just hit OK, and then on your desktop, you will have a PSD with all of your layers that you'll copy to your hard drive before you leave at the end of the day. You want to see that green plus. That green plus is saying, I'm copying. And then you can open up your hard drive and give it a check. And there it is. And when you come in the next day, you will copy it off to begin painting. Okay, so that's how to set it up. That's a really brief introduction to the tool, which we will go over more on Wednesday.